The first time a trainer witnesses transformation, the screen fills with pale luminescence, pixels shifting form in a rhythm both ancient and immediate. Evolution carries weight beyond mechanics, embedding itself into memory through light and sound and the quiet certainty that something irreversible has begun. Within those glowing moments, designers embedded philosophy, storytelling, and the delicate architecture of emotional connection. Before you drift off, maybe tap subscribe for more gentle videos, and let me know where you're listening from tonight, walking into the subject itself through examining how the concept took shape in the earliest development rooms where creatures first learned to change. The very first prototypes never included transformation at all. Designers initially imagined creatures remaining static throughout the journey, companions defined entirely by initial form. Yet something felt incomplete in that approach, a missing element that would make the world breathe. The solution arrived through conversation about real insects, the way caterpillars seal themselves away and emerge remade. That natural process became foundational, teaching early players through Caterpie's gentle progression that growth unfolds across stages rather than arriving all at once. Caterpie's evolution sequence was among the first animations ever programmed into the game's code. The fade from green to harder shell happened slowly, deliberately, pulsing with a rhythm meant to evoke heartbeat rather than violence. Designers wanted transformation to feel peaceful, a moment of rest rather than rupture. When Metapod sheds its casing and becomes Butterfree, the completion arrives not through power, but through beauty rendered in simple pixels. The Pokédex entries for Butterfree mention wings dusted with water-repellent scales, a detail serving no battle purpose, but everything for imagination. These small touches layered depth into transformation, suggesting that evolution carried meaning beyond mere strength increases. Each change told a story, implied history, whispered of journeys taken in quiet moments between towns and battles. Magikarp presented designers with a different challenge entirely, a creature whose helplessness bordered on comedy, yet concealed one of the most enduring myths embedded in the series. The carp that leaps over the waterfall and becomes a dragon arrives from Chinese legend, where perseverance transforms struggle into ascension. Gyarados carries that myth directly through serpentine body and rage born from endurance rather than malice. Internal documents reveal that this evolution was never intended as joke or punchline. It stood as statement about potential, about how underestimated creatures can become legendary through resilience and time. Magikarp's evolution at level 20 was deliberately chosen to feel attainable, a promise that patience would receive reward. Playtesters described the moment of transformation as a child's first miracle, that phrase capturing what makes evolution timeless across decades. The simple light of transformation converts effort into memory, creating moments that linger with players years after the game cartridge goes silent. That emotional resonance built the foundation for every evolution mechanic that followed, each new method adding layers to the original concept while preserving the core philosophy of meaningful change. Eevee's existence centers entirely on potential, a single creature capable of reflecting environment through countless pathways. Each evolution tells distinct stories about connection and circumstance. Vaporeon speaks of calm flexibility, Jolteon of intensity and independence, Flareon of warmth and devotion. When friendship mechanics arrived in later generations, Espeon and Umbreon joined the family, their evolution triggered by trust, combined with time of day. Sunlight brought clarity through Espeon's psychic grace, while moonlight fostered loyalty in Umbreon's dark elegance. Developers have stated that Eevee's unstable genetic makeup drew inspiration from evolutionary openness, a phrase borrowed from biology and art simultaneously. The design wasn't meant to make scientific sense, but to feel emotionally correct, giving players choice without forcing control over future forms. Each evolution carries the same soft eyes, the same quiet intelligence, reminding observers that transformation never erases origin. That continuity across change became central to how evolution functioned throughout the series, preserving identity even as form shifted dramatically. The bond between what was and what becomes creates narrative threads that players follow through their entire journey. Leafeon and Glaceon expanded Eevee's family through environmental influence, requiring proximity to moss-covered rocks or ice-laden stones to trigger transformation. These location-based evolutions tied change to place, suggesting that environment shapes development as powerfully as training or affection. Sylveon arrived later still, evolving through affection and knowing a fairy-type move, representing love understood and expressed. Every evolution reflects a different aspect of the trainer-Pokemon relationship, offering mirrors for how connection can manifest. Some players choose based on battle utility, others on aesthetic preference, but the decision itself becomes meaningful through the permanence of evolution. Once transformed, Eevee cannot shift to alternate forms, making each choice a commitment that carries weight. Stone evolutions carry quiet beauty often overlooked in discussions of transformation mechanics. Firestones, Waterstones, Thunderstones, each represents catalyst rather than mere tool. To hold a stone is to decide destiny, the player becoming storyteller who determines when a creature stands ready to evolve. This balance between control and care forms one of the quietest emotional threads winding through the series. Vulpix transforms into Ninetales through Firestone exposure, gaining tails and mystical power that reflect ancient fox spirits from Japanese folklore. Growlithe becomes Arcanine, shifting from loyal pup to legendary guardian, whose presence commands respect. These stone evolutions happen instantly without level requirements, granting players agency over timing that level-based transformations never allow. The permanence of stone use in early games added weight to decisions, each evolution requiring deliberate choice rather than passive observation. Later generations introduced methods to obtain infinite stones, reducing scarcity but preserving the core concept of catalyzed transformation. The stones themselves become symbols, physical representations of fate held in digital inventory. Nidorino and Nidorina evolved through Moonstone into Nidoking and Nidoqueen respectively, their final forms diverging in role and appearance despite shared origins. Nidoking emphasizes power and aggression, while Nidoqueen focuses on nurturing strength, both interpretations valid within their species' evolutionary framework. The Moonstone's association with these creatures links them to lunar mythology, to cycles and hidden power. Clefairy's transformation into Clefable similarly requires Moonstone, its fairy heritage deepening through exposure to lunar energy. The same stone works on Jigglypuff, creating Wigglytuff, and on Skitty, producing Delcatty. Each creature responds differently to the same catalyst, suggesting that evolution reflects innate potential awakened rather than external force imposed. Sunstones arrived in later generations, enabling Gloom to become Blossom and Sunkern to transform into Sunflora. These evolutions emphasized light and warmth, creatures blooming under solar influence. The introduction of new stones expanded evolutionary possibilities while maintaining the core mechanic of item-triggered transformation, each stone type carrying thematic weight that's beyond mere gameplay function. Friendship-based evolution introduced emotional dimension to transformation, measuring bond strength between trainer and Pokemon. Golbat becomes Crobat only when happiness reaches sufficient threshold, the vampire bat shedding predatory nature through companionship. Chansey evolves into Blissey under the same condition, nurturing personality, reaching full bloom when surrounded by affection. The games track friendship through invisible points, gained by walking together, using Pokémon in battles, feeding vitamins, avoiding harsh treatment. This mechanic creates slower, more organic evolution path compared to simple level grinding. Players cannot rush the process through endless battles or rare candies. They must invest time and care, building trust through consistent positive interactions. Pokémon with low friendship refuse to evolve regardless of level, staying in base forms until emotional bonds strengthen enough to trigger transformation. This creates situations where players unknowingly carry high-level, unevolved creatures, unaware that lack of friendship blocks their progress. The mechanic mirrors real relationships, emphasizing patience and attentiveness over brute force approaches. Some friendship evolutions layer additional conditions atop happiness requirements, creating multidimensional puzzles. Eevee evolves into Espeon only during day when friendship is high, into Umbreon only at night under the same condition. The time element adds temporal factor to emotional bond, suggesting that love's peak moment matters as much as its depth. Riolu transforms into Lucario through daytime friendship evolution, the aura Pokemon's power awakening under sun's influence. Budu becomes Roselia similarly, requiring day and high friendship, flower blooming when conditions align. These combined requirements teach players that evolution sometimes demands patience across multiple dimensions, waiting for perfect convergence of factors. Togepi's evolution into Togetic and eventually Togekiss represents growth through trust rather than combat. The egg Pokemon was designed to feel infantile, fragile, something to protect rather than use in battle. Its transformation mirrors emotional maturation, love becoming flight. When Togepi evolves, it doesn't just grow wings, it learns to trust, a narrative told without words but felt through mechanics. The subtle design choice of friendship-triggered evolution tells entire stories through system rather than text. Love made visible through transformation creates moments that linger with players, especially those who raised creatures from eggs. Evolution here transcends numbers, becoming care rendered tangible through pixel art and game code. Alolan forms, introduced in Generation 7, presented evolution as environmental adaptation, showing how creatures change when transplanted to new habitats. Vulpix raised in snowy mountains becomes ice type rather than fire, its coat shifting to white and its abilities reflecting frozen environment. Sandshrew transforms similarly, developing ice and steel typing in response to Alola's peaks. These regional variants suggest that evolution responds to prolonged environmental exposure, creatures adapting over time to survive in different climates. The concept draws from real evolutionary biology, while maintaining Pokemon's fantastical edge, creating creatures that feel both scientifically plausible and magically transformed. Alolan forms don't replace original variants, but exist alongside them, each adapted to specific geographical conditions. Galarian forms continued this concept, introducing far-fetched evolution into Sir-fetched after landing 3 critical hits in single battle. This unusual requirement combined luck with skill, the leek-wielding bird achieving knighthood through martial prowess. The evolution reflects cultural adaptation, Galarian far-fetched developing warrior spirit, absent in its Cantonian counterpart. Galarian Yamask evolves into Runerigus after taking specific damage amount and passing under Stone Arch in particular location, one of the most convoluted evolution methods ever implemented. The complexity rewards dedicated players while frustrating those unaware of requirements. These elaborate conditions demonstrate how far evolution mechanics have stretched beyond simple level thresholds. Regional evolution differences emphasize that transformation isn't universal but contextual, shaped by environment, culture, and circumstance. The same species raised in different regions may evolve into entirely different forms, each valid within its own ecological framework. This variability adds a richness to the world, suggesting evolutionary possibilities multiply based on countless environmental factors. Trait evolution remains one of the oldest mechanics, introduced in the very first generation. Machoke, Graveler, Kadabra, Haunter all refuse to evolve through normal leveling, requiring instead transfer to another trainer before transformation occurs. The in-universe explanation describes this as reaction to energy pulse of trading system, bodies scrambling and reassembling mid-transfer between devices. The mechanic was designed to encourage social interaction between players, forcing connection with friends or strangers to complete Pokédexes. Trading requirements created barrier for solo players, certain Pokémon remaining permanently unevolved in collections of isolated trainers. The decision also introduced trust issues, trading requiring temporary ownership surrender with expectation of return. Some trade evolutions require specific held items during transfer, adding complexity layers. Onyx evolves into Steelix only when holding metal coat during trade, the item absorbed into body as evolution completes. Seadra transforms into Kingdra while holding Dragon Scale, similar item consumption occurring. These held item trades combine social cooperation with resource management, puzzles requiring both elements for solution. Porygon's evolution into Porygon and eventually Porygon Zis represents unique case, artificial Pokémon gaining upgrades through technological items. Upgrade triggers, first evolution, Dubious Disc the second, both suggesting that digital creatures evolve through software patches rather than biological processes. This technological evolution mirrors how computer programs receive updates, maintaining theme consistency with Porygon's artificial nature. The symbolism extends beyond mechanics into narrative, trade evolution representing exchange and connection as transformative forces. Creatures evolve not through isolation, but through interaction, requiring relationship to reach final forms. This mirrors series' broader themes about bonds between humans and Pokémon, cooperation, creating possibilities impossible through solitary effort. Phoebus presents fascinating case study in evolution requirements, initially needing maximum beauty stat through Pokéblock feeding before leveling up. This multi-step process required engagement with contest mechanics, creating cross-system evolution method. Later generations simplified this to trade, while holding prism scale, streamlining process but losing some original complexity. The beauty requirement suggested that external perception mattered for transformation, Ugly Duckling becoming Swan only when others recognized its potential. This narrative element added emotional depth to Phoebus's journey, its evolution into melodic representing acceptance and self-realization. The change from beauty-based to item-based evolution shifted focus, but maintained core concept of specific conditions enabling transformation. Inkei's evolution method stands among the strangest ever implemented, requiring players to physically hold their gaming device upside down during level up. The gyroscope registers inversion, triggering transformation into Malamar. This unusual requirement mirrors Inkei's inverted body design and upside-down floating behavior, mechanic reflecting biology in playful way. The upside-down evolution demonstrates how real-world player actions can integrate into game systems, breaking fourth wall between digital and physical space. Players unfamiliar with requirement often struggle to evolve Inkei despite meeting level thresholds, the hidden condition creating moments of confusion, followed by delight upon discovery. Malamar's sinister reputation in Pokédex lore, described as manipulative creature using psychic waves to control minds, adds darkness to transformation. The inversion required for evolution reflects moral inversion, innocent Inkei becoming something more dangerous and cunning. This narrative weight transforms simple mechanic into storytelling device. Pancham's evolution into Pangoro requires Dark-type Pokémon in party when reaching level 32. The game checks team composition at evolution moment, transformation failing without Dark-type presence. This suggests Pancham learns from darker influences, absorbing behavioral traits and attitudes that enable maturation into rougher fighter. The requirement creates narrative implications about how Pokemon learn through observation and companionship. Pancham's evolution isn't just physical, but psychological, requiring exposure to specific personality type before adopting that mindset. Without Dark-type mentor, Pancham remains in playful, innocent form, unable to access aggressive confidence Pangoro represents. This team-based evolution mechanic appears rarely in franchise, making it notable when encountered. The holistic approach considers entire party as ecosystem where different species influence each other's development. Pancham's requirement demonstrates how evolutionary triggers can extend beyond individual Pokemon into relationship dynamics. Shedinja represents one of the most unusual evolution outcomes, appearing automatically when Nincada evolves into Ninjask if player has empty party slot and spare Pokeball. The hollow husk left behind when Nincada sheds skin becomes separate entity, creating two Pokemon from single evolution. This dual transformation breaks normal patterns, evolution producing multiple results simultaneously. Shedinja's unique ability Wonder Guard makes it immune to all damage except super effective attacks. Its 1 HP stat creating extreme glass cannon dynamic. The evolution from Nincada doesn't just produce Ninjask, but also generates this specialized defensive anomaly, reward for players who understand obscure conditions and prepare appropriately. The hidden nature of Shedinja's obtainment means many players evolve Nincada without realizing they missed opportunity. This creates a secret knowledge dynamic, information spreading through community rather than official channels. The surprise of discovering Shedinja after the fact often prompts players to seek another Nincada and evolve correctly. Mantyka's evolution into Mantine requires Remoraid in party, the small fish Pokemon enabling transformation. This references Mantine's design featuring Remoraid attached to underside, symbiotic relationship between species made mechanical through evolution requirement. The condition suggests that Mantyka cannot mature without its partner, dependency becoming prerequisite for growth. This interspecies cooperation requirement extends evolution mechanics into biological relationships, showing how some creatures rely on others for development. The mechanic mirrors real symbiotic relationships in nature, while maintaining Pokemon's fantastical edge. Mantyke's evolution becomes impossible in isolation, requiring specific companion before transformation can occur. Tyrogue's stat-based evolution presents interesting puzzle where growth pattern determines final form. If attack exceeds defense at level 20, Tyrogue becomes Hitmonlee, the kicking specialist. If defense is higher, it transforms into Hitmonchan, the punching expert. If attack and defense are perfectly equal, rare third option, Hitmontop emerges, spinning fighter balancing offense and defense equally. This evolution system forces players to actively manage stat growth through careful training and vitamin distribution. Single protein or iron can shift balance, tipping Tyrogue toward one evolution over another. Players wanting specific outcome must plan ahead, tracking stats after every level and adjusting training regimen accordingly. The stat-based mechanic reflects real biological concepts where environmental pressures shape development. Tyrogue's body adapts to training type received, building muscle mass in whichever area receives most attention. This creates narrative around evolution as consequence of trainers' choices rather than predetermined genetic path. Agency shifting partially to player decisions. Wurmple's evolution operates on hidden personality value, assigned at generation, making outcome impossible for players to control. The personality value determines whether Wurmple becomes Silcoon or Cascoon at level 7, players unable to influence result through training or items. This randomness mimics genetic variation, identical twins raised identically still developing differently due to inherent biological differences. Silcoon and Cascoon look similar as cocoon stage Pokemon, but eventually evolve into vastly different final forms. Silcoon becomes beautifully, delicate butterfly with elegant wings and special attack prowess. Cascoon transforms into Dustox, poisonous moth with bulkier stats and defensive capabilities. The divergence emphasizes that evolution isn't always predictable, even when environmental factors remain constant. This random evolution frustrates completionists wanting to obtain both forms, forcing them to catch and evolve multiple Wurmple until receiving desired outcome. The mechanic demonstrates that not all transformations can be controlled or predicted, some aspects of growth remaining beyond trainer influence despite best efforts. Cosmoem's evolution into either Solgaleo or Lunala depending on game version represents legendary branching path. The same cocoon-like creature transforms into radically different final forms based solely on which game cartridge contains it, Sun version producing Solgaleo while Moon creates Lunala. This version-exclusive evolution extends typical version differences into transformation mechanics. The evolution carries narrative significance tied to each game's plot, Cosmoem's transformation representing choice between solar and lunar energies. Both outcomes are equally valid legendaries, with distinct typings, abilities, and roles in battle. The version-locked evolution means players cannot obtain both without trading, encouraging social interaction and version diversity. Rockruff presents similar version-dependent evolution with additional time requirements. Standard Rockruff evolves into Midday Lycanroc during day, Midnight Lycanroc at night. Special Event Rockruff with unique ability can become Dusk Lycanroc when leveled during brief twilight window between day and night, creating 3 possible forms from single species. These time-sensitive evolutions add layer of planning to transformation, players needing to track in-game clock and level Pokemon during specific windows. The Dusk evolution, in particular, requires precise timing, its narrow availability window making it challenging to obtain. This temporal specificity demonstrates how evolution requirements can extend into real-time management. Eevee's expansion beyond original 3 evolutions shows how mechanics can grow across generations. Leafeon and Glacian have been joined through location-based triggers, requiring proximity to Moss Rock or Ice Rock. Sylveon arrived via affection and fairy-type move knowledge. Each new evolution maintained core concept of environmental or emotional influence while introducing fresh transformation pathways. The continuing expansion of Eevee's family across generations demonstrates commitment to original concept, each new game finding ways to add forms without invalidating previous ones. Eevee remains perpetually unstable, its genetic code open to infinite interpretations. This ongoing development keeps Eevee relevant across decades, new players discovering fresh evolution options while veterans revisit familiar transformations. Melton's evolution into Melmetal initially required Pokemon Go integration, needing 400 Melton candies obtained through mobile game. This cross-platform evolution represented unique experiment in transformation mechanics, requiring engagement with multiple games to complete single evolutionary line. The candy requirement was deliberately steep, making Melmetal achievement feel earned through sustained effort. Later games introduced alternative evolution methods for Melton, reducing dependence on mobile integration while maintaining high resource requirements. The evolution demonstrates how mechanics adapt across platforms and generations, core concept remaining consistent while implementation details shift based on available technology and player expectations. Kubfu's evolution into either Urshifu single strike or rapid strike style depends on tower choice and Isle of Armor expansion. Players select between Tower of Darkness and Tower of Waters, the training location determining final form's typing and fighting style. This choice-based evolution mirrors traditional martial arts training, different schools producing different techniques. Once evolved, Urshifu's form becomes permanent, the choice carrying weight similar to evolutions. Single Strike emphasizes powerful finishing moves, while Rapid Strike focuses on combo attacks. Both approaches valid in battle, but fundamentally different in philosophy. The tower mechanic adds narrative flavor to evolution, transformation representing completion of specific training regimen. Calyrex's mount choice between Glastrier and Spectrier creates fusion forms, Shadow Rider or Ice Rider Calyrex. While technically fusion rather than evolution, the mechanic demonstrates expanding definition of transformation in later generations. The choice determines not just appearance, but entire battle strategy, Shadow Rider specializing in special attacks, while Ice Rider focuses on physical power. These mount-based transformations suggest that evolution can occur through partnership rather than individual growth alone, two creatures combining strengths to create something neither could achieve separately. The temporary nature of fusion maintains distinction from permanent evolution while exploring similar themes of transformation and power enhancement. Galarian Slowpoke's evolution demonstrates how item choice determines final form. Using Galarica Cuff creates Galarian Slowbro, while Galarica Wreath produces Galarian Slowking, same base Pokemon evolving into dramatically different results based on accessory type. This item-dependent branching evolution shows how external objects can guide transformation along specific pathways. The evolution maintains Slowpoke's traditional confusion and slowness while adding regional flavor through unique items and forms. Galarian variants present alternative evolutionary outcomes that don't invalidate original forms, but expand possibilities within species framework. Each item represents different path Slowpoke might take, choice determining whether it becomes defensive bruiser or special attacker. Gimmighoul's evolution into Goldengo requires collecting 999 Gimmighoul coins, the highest resource requirement ever implemented. This extreme threshold makes evolution feel truly earned, transformation representing sustained commitment rather than simple leveling. So the coin collection mechanic integrates exploration and trading, players needing to thoroughly search environments or exchange with others. If you're still awake halfway through, maybe subscribe before you drift off, and tell me what time it is where you're watching from. The resource-intensive evolution demonstrates different approach to transformation pacing, replacing level grinding with collection gameplay. Goldengo's final form feels proportionally powerful to effort required, the Golden Treasure Pokemon's abilities, reflecting value of persistence. This evolution type adds variety to transformation mechanics while maintaining core concept of effort rewarded through change. Anileipi's evolution from Primeape requires using Rage Fist, move 20 times then leveling up, combining move usage tracking with level threshold. This unique condition means players must actively battle with Primeape rather than simply grinding experience, the evolution emerging from combat practice rather than passive growth. The Rage Fist requirement ties thematically to Primeape's aggressive nature, anger refined through repetition into new form. The move usage evolution represents relatively rare mechanic, few Pokemon requiring specific attack mastery before transformation. Anihilip's Fighting Ghost typing suggests that repeated rage transcends physical combat into spiritual realm, fury becoming supernatural force. This narrative element adds depth to mechanical requirement, evolution telling story through gameplay conditions. Basculegion's evolution demands Basculin receiving 294 recoil damage without fainting then leveling up. This specific damage threshold creates challenging requirement, players needing to carefully manage health while using recoil moves. Wave Crash becomes primary tool for reaching threshold, its high power and recoil damage accelerating progress toward evolution. The recoil requirement suggests that Basculin evolves through surviving hardship, transformation emerging from endurance rather than simple strength. Basculegion carries spirits of fallen Basculin within its body according to Pokédex entries, the evolution representing transcendence through collective memory and sacrifice. This darker narrative adds weight to mechanical threshold, damage taken representing lost companions. Ursaluna's evolution from Ursaring requires full moon in Legends Arceus, Peat Block item, and specific battle conditions. This multi-layered requirement combines environmental factors with resource availability, creating evolution that feels truly special when achieved. The full moon dependency adds temporal element, players needing to wait for correct lunar phase before attempting transformation. The Peat Block item represents environmental connection, Ursaluna's design suggesting creature deeply tied to wetland ecosystems. Evolution through Moon and Earth emphasizes primal nature, Ursaring reaching final form through alignment with natural cycles rather than combat prowess alone. This returns evolution to environmental roots while maintaining modern mechanical complexity. Overquill's evolution from Quillfish requires using Barb Barrage 20 times in strong style, then leveling up. Another move usage evolution with style-specific requirement unique to Legends Arceus. The strong style modifier means players must deliberately choose attack method rather than simply spamming move, active decision-making becoming prerequisite for transformation. This evolution demonstrates how gameplay mechanics, specific to particular games, can create unique transformation conditions. Overquill cannot be obtained in games lacking strong style system, making it version exclusive, not through availability, but through mechanical requirements. The Barb Barrage usage suggests poison mastery leading to evolution, Quillfish's toxic abilities refined through practice. Kleavor's evolution from Scyther, using Black Augurate, represents Hisuian regional evolution, same creature taking different path in ancient times. The rock-type transformation contrasts sharply with Skyzer's steel typing, demonstrating how same species might evolve differently across eras or regions. Black Augurate's rarity adds prestige to evolution, the specialized item making Kleavor feel appropriately distinctive. The Bug Rock typing creates unique defensive profile, Kleavor trading Scyther's speed for increased power and durability. This evolution showcases how transformation can radically alter battle roles, Speedy Glass Cannon becoming tankier Bruiser while maintaining offensive presence. The divergent evolutionary paths from Scyther demonstrate flexibility within species development. Sneasler's evolution from Hisuian Sneasel during day while holding Razor Claw shows how regional variants can have completely different requirements than original forms. Jotonian Sneasel evolves into Weevil at night with Razor Claw, the inverted time requirement emphasizing regional behavioral differences. Sneasler's poison fighting typing contrasts with Weevil's Dark Ice combination, both valid evolutionary outcomes from nearly identical starting points. The day-night reversal between regional evolution requirements demonstrates attention to ecological detail, Hisuian Sneasel adapting to different environmental pressures than its descendant. These subtle requirement differences add richness to regional variants, suggesting that habitat shapes not just appearance, but fundamental biological processes, including evolution timing. Wiredeer's evolution from Stantler, using Size Shield Bash 20 times, represents move mastery evolution, similar to an Ihilip. The psychic move requirement suggests Stantler develops supernatural abilities through practice, normal type deer transcending mundane existence through mental discipline. Wiredeer's imposing appearance and psychic normal typing reflect this ascension, physical form changing to accommodate enhanced mental powers. The move usage threshold creates narrative, where evolution emerges from skill refinement rather than simple experience gain. Stantler must actively engage in psychic combat, using abilities repeatedly until mastery triggers transformation. This connects evolution to practice and dedication, themes resonating beyond gameplay into broader concepts about growth through focused effort. Basculegion's gender differences in evolution create unique case where same requirements produce visibly different results. Male Basculin evolve into streamlined, aggressive Basculegion, while female forms appear bulkier and more defensive. Both require identical recoil damage threshold, but express evolution differently based on biological sex, creating parallel transformation paths. This sexual dimorphism in evolution demonstrates attention to naturalistic detail, many real species showing significant differences between males and females. Basculegion's gendered forms expand evolutionary diversity while maintaining mechanical consistency, players obtaining different aesthetic outcomes from identical process based solely on starting Pokemon's gender. Lishonk's evolution into Oinkolognosos shows similar gender-based divergence, male forms developing fighting-themed design elements, while females adopt more elegant appearance. The evolutions occur at same level without additional requirements, biology alone determining final form's aesthetic and slight stat distribution differences. This represents simpler gender evolution compared to Basculegion, while maintaining concept of sex-linked transformation. Meowstic's evolution from Espurr produces drastically different male and female forms, with completely distinct move pools and battle roles. Male Meowstic focuses on support moves, while female variant specializes in offensive psychic attacks, the same species evolving into functionally different Pokémon based on gender. This extreme dimorphism creates effectively two separate entities from single evolutionary line. The gender-based move pool differences mean players must consider starting Espurr's sex when planning team composition, evolution outcome affecting available strategies significantly. This adds planning dimension to catching and training, sex becoming relevant factor beyond cosmetic differences. Meowstic demonstrates maximum extent of gender evolution variance within series. Indeed, AE similarly shows extreme gender differences, male forms emphasizing support abilities, while females develop offensive capabilities. Though not technically evolution, but rather gender dimorphism in single-stage Pokémon, the concept mirrors evolutionary gender divergence seen in other species. These gender-based variations add biological realism while creating additional collecting challenges for completionists wanting both forms. Salazzle's evolution from female Salandit represents gender-locked transformation, male Salandit never evolving regardless of level. This creates an unusual situation where half of caught Salandit cannot reach final form, their biology preventing transformation. The gender lock reflects real animals, where only specific sexes develop certain traits, adding naturalistic element while frustrating players unlucky with encounter gender ratios. The female-only evolution means Salazzle populations contain exclusively females, according to game logic, males remaining perpetually in Salandit form. This creates odd ecological implications, but serves gameplay purpose of making Salazzle rarer and more valuable. The gender restriction teaches players that not all Pokémon follow standard evolutionary paths. Vespiqen's female-only evolution from Combi mirrors Salazzle's restriction, a worker bee Combi, never transforming into queen regardless of training. The biology makes thematic sense, real bee colonies containing single queen among numerous workers. The gender lock creates collecting challenge while adding educational element about social insect biology. Male Combi's inability to evolve, despite significant level gains, creates situations where players accidentally invest in Pokémon that cannot reach full potential. This teaches careful checking before committing resources, gender becoming crucial consideration. The restriction also adds value to female combi encounters, normally common Pokémon becoming desirable based purely on sex. Motham and Wormadam's evolution from Burmy demonstrates gender-determined divergent evolution, male forms becoming Motham, while females transform into Wormadam. The evolutions occur at same level, but produce completely different Pokémon with unique typings and abilities. Motham remains pure bug type, while Wormadam adds secondary typing based on Burmy's cloak form when evolved. Wormadam's cloak-dependent typing creates additional variation, the same evolution producing grass, ground, or steel secondary types, depending on last cloak equipped. This combines gender-based evolution with form-based mechanics, creating multiple possible outcomes from single species. The complexity demonstrates how evolution systems can layer multiple factors into transformation triggers. Burmy's cloak forms change based on battle location, adopting plant, sand, or trash appearance depending on terrain. These cosmetic changes become permanent upon evolution into Wormadam, environmental influence crystallizing into final form. The mechanic suggests that formative experiences during development shape ultimate outcome, temporary adaptations becoming fixed through evolution. Rotom's form changes through appliance possession present interesting case, technically not evolution, but transformation that shares similar permanence and strategic impact. Rotom enters household appliances to gain new typing and signature move, each form representing different battle role. The appliance changes feel evolutionary in scope, despite mechanical differences. The 5 Rotom forms cover heat, wash, frost, fan, and mow variants, each with unique electric combination typing. These forms demonstrate how single Pokémon can fill multiple niches through transformation, electric ghost base gaining water, fire, ice, flying, or grass depending on appliance choice. The variety rivals Eevee's evolutionary flexibility, despite different mechanical implementation. Cast Form's weather-dependent forms show similar flexibility, appearance, and typing shifting with battle conditions. These transformations are temporary unlike evolution, but demonstrate related concepts about adaptation and change. Cast Form becomes fire, water, or ice type, in sun, rain, or hail respectively, the same individual expressing different forms based on environmental factors. Cherrim's Sunshine transformation represents a simpler version, flower Pokémon opening petals in harsh sunlight and closing in normal conditions. The form change affects stats and appearance, but not typing, creating minor transformation that still influences battle strategy. These conditional transformations explore evolution concepts through different mechanical frameworks. Darmanitan's Zen Mode ability triggers form change when health drops below half, Calm Meditation Mode replacing standard Berserk appearance. The transformation reverses stat distributions, defensive form emerging when offensive approach becomes dangerous. This battle-responsive evolution demonstrates adaptation occurring in real time rather than permanent change. Aegislash's stance change between shield and blade forms represents continuous transformation, appearance, and stats shifting based on move type used. Defensive shield form gives way to offensive blade form when attacking, the Pokémon flowing between forms throughout battle. This represents ultimate expression of adaptive transformation, evolution becoming fluid process rather than discrete event. Zygarde's form changes through cell collection, demonstrate transformation through assembly, scattered pieces coalescing into complete entity. 10% form combines few cells, 50% assembles more, complete form represents total collection. The mechanic mirrors real biological development, where individual cells organize into complex organisms. The various zygardiforms possess different abilities and stats, incomplete assembly producing functionally distinct entities from complete collection. This percentage-based transformation creates progression system, separate from traditional leveling, power increasing through gathering rather than battle experience. The concept expands evolution into collection gameplay. Necrozma's fusion with Solgallo or Lunala to create Duskmane or Dawnwing's forms demonstrates absorption evolution, one creature integrating another to transform. The fusion is reversible, unlike traditional evolution, but creates a similar power enhancement and appearance change. These ultra fusions explore boundary between evolution and symbiosis. Calorex's Shadow Rider and Ice Rider form similarly combined separate entities, the king mounting steed to create enhanced fusion form. The mechanical implementation differs from Necrozma, but explores identical themes about transformation through union. These legendary fusions demonstrate evolution concepts at cosmic scale, gods combining powers to reach higher states. Kyurem's fusion forms with Reshiram or Zekrom, reunite fragmented dragon, black Kyurem, and white Kyurem representing partial restoration of original legendary. The lore suggests true evolution would reunite all three into single entity, current fusions remaining incomplete transformations. This narrative frames fusion as the evolutionary step toward original wholeness. The DNA splicers required for Kyurem fusion suggest technological facilitation of evolution, human innovation, enabling transformation impossible through natural means alone. This theme of technology-assisted evolution runs through multiple mechanics, from trading machines to evolutionary stones to various held items. The series consistently explores how human understanding can guide or accelerate natural processes. Primal reversion for Groudon and Kyogre represents regression to original ancient forms, evolution running backward to reclaim prehistoric power. The mechanic demonstrates that transformation isn't always forward progression, but can circle back to primordial states. Primal forms access power unavailable to modern evolutions, suggesting earlier forms sometimes possess advantages lost through time. The primal reversion requires holding specific orbs that channel ancient energy, items serving as keys to unlock sealed power. The transformations are temporary, reverting after battle ends, maintaining distinction from permanent evolution while exploring similar enhancement concepts. These legendary transformations demonstrate evolution's flexibility as concept. Mega Evolution represents temporary battle transformation, requiring strong trainer Pokémon bond, specific held stone, and keystone carried by trainer. The three-part requirement suggests evolution transcending mere biological process into spiritual or emotional realm, power unlocked through connection rather than individual strength alone. The temporary nature maintains evolution's special status while creating a separate enhancement system. The various megastones correspond to specific Pokémon, Charizard X and Y stones, creating divergent transformations from same base. This split mega evolution demonstrates multiple potential endpoints, even within temporary transformation, choice, and context determining final form. Charizard X becomes Dragon type, while Y remains flying, the same Pokémon expressing different evolutionary themes. Some Pokémon's megaforms connect to previously established evolution lines, Alakazam's Mega, representing further development of psychic specialization. Other megas like Mawile and Sableye provided evolutions to Pokémon previously lacking them, temporary transformation filling permanent evolution's absence. The system served multiple design purposes while maintaining thematic consistency. Mega Lucario, Mega Garchomp, and other pseudo-legendary megas demonstrated that already powerful Pokémon could transcend normal limits through perfect synchronization with trainers. These transformations emphasized bond over baseline strength, the mechanic democratizing power enhancement across evolutionary tiers. A fully evolved Pokémon with deep trainer connection could rival legendary power through Mega Evolution. The Pokédex entries for some Mega forms describe painful or dangerous transformations, suggesting temporary evolution carries costs permanent change doesn't. Mega Salamence allegedly melts wings into streamlined flight form, while Mega Sharpedo grows spikes piercing own skin. These darker implications add gravitas to temporary power, evolution's price becoming explicit. Gigantamax forms represent another temporary transformation unique to specific Pokémon individuals. Unlike regular Dynamax increasing size generically, Gigantamax changes appearance dramatically and grants unique G-Max moves. The rarity of Gigantamax-capable individuals adds collecting layer. Only special Pokémon possessing transformation potential. Gigantamax, Charizard, Butterfree, and other Kanto Pokémon received forms celebrating series history, designs incorporating nostalgic elements while showcasing modern graphical capabilities. The transformations last 3 turns in battle, creating temporary evolution window requiring strategic timing. This duration-limited enhancement demonstrates evolution as contextual burst rather than permanent state. Eternamax Eternatus represents ultimate Gigantamax form, tower-sized transformation showcasing maximum potential of enhancement mechanic. The form appears only in story context, players never accessing it in normal battle. This exclusive transformation maintains mystique while demonstrating theoretical limits of temporary evolution. Terastallization introduces type-shifting transformation where Pokemon's Tera type replaces normal typing temporarily. The jewel-like appearance and type change create functional evolution without altering form dramatically. Every Pokemon can terastallize, but individual Tera types vary, adding collecting dimension and strategic planning layers. The Tera type can match existing typing for same type attack boost, or completely replace it for coverage options. This flexibility makes terastallization both offensive and defensive tool, type change potentially neutralizing weaknesses or enhancing strengths. The mechanic explores evolution as type fluidity rather than form modification. Raid Tera types can be changed through special items, allowing customization of transformation type. This player agency over evolution direction represents maximum control over transformation outcomes, trainer choice completely determining type change direction. The system demonstrates evolution concepts through pure type mechanics divorced from appearance changes. Each generation's battle enhancement mechanic explores evolution from different an angle, temporary transformations, allowing design experimentation impossible with permanent changes. The variety demonstrates series' commitment to evolution as core theme while preventing mechanical stagnation. Each new system adds layer to transformation philosophy. The commonality across Z moves, Mega Evolution, Gigantamax, and terastallization lies in temporary enhancement through bond or circumstance. These mechanics explore evolution's emotional and environmental aspects without permanent commitment, creating battle drama while preserving base forms. The temporary nature prevents power creep while maintaining transformation spectacle. Evolution through ancient power move demonstrates knowledge-based transformation, certain Pokemon requiring specific attack mastery before evolving. Tangela becomes Tangrowth when leveling up while knowing ancient power, the move unlocking dormant genetic information. This suggests evolution can be triggered by reclaiming ancestral abilities, past power becoming key to future form. Piloswine similarly evolves into Mamoswine through ancient power knowledge, Ice Age Mammoth, reclaiming prehistoric might. Yanma transforms into Yanmega under same condition, Dragonfly accessing ancient gigantism. The shared requirement across unrelated species suggests ancient power as universal evolutionary trigger, prehistoric energy awakening latent potential. The move requirement creates fragile evolution condition, accidentally deleting ancient power breaks, transformation pathway, until move is relearned. This teaches players to carefully manage movesets, evolution considerations, influencing battle preparation. The knowledge-based trigger emphasizes that power comes through understanding and mastery rather than mere strength. Lickitung's evolution into Lickilicky requires knowing rollout, the physical attack enabling transformation. This unusual requirement seems arbitrary compared to ancient powers' thematic resonance, yet demonstrates how specific move knowledge can unlock evolution. The mechanical similarity across different moves suggests systematic approach to move-based evolution triggers. Ipalm evolves into Ambipalm when leveling up while knowing double hit, the dual strike technique representing mastery threshold. Bonsly becomes Sudowoodo through mimic knowledge, imitation ability enabling transformation. These varied move requirements create diverse evolution pathways, all sharing knowledge mastery concept, skills learned unlocking biological change. Mime Jr.'s evolution into Mr. Mime requires mimic knowledge, the baby performer mastering imitation before reaching adult form. This mirrors real development, where children learn through mimicry, the evolution condition reflecting natural maturation process. The move requirement adds thematic weight to mechanical trigger, biological, and behavioral development aligning. The move-based evolutions demonstrate that transformation can emerge from capability acquisition rather than pure experience gain. A Pokémon knowing specific technique possesses something functionally different from one lacking that knowledge, the ability itself becoming transformative. This frames evolution as skill-dependent process, competency enabling physical change. Happiness-based evolutions with move requirements combine emotional and technical factors, creating multidimensional transformation conditions. Eevee into Sylveon requires high friendship plus knowing fairy-type move, love, and ability merging as evolution triggers. This layered requirement suggests optimal evolution needs both bond and skill, emotion and technique working together. The dual requirements prevent accidental evolutions while maintaining thematic richness, players needing intentionality to trigger transformation. Sylveon cannot appear through passive friendship gain alone. Trainer must actively teach fairy move, demonstrating conscious preparation. This combination respects player agency while maintaining emotional evolution framework. Type Null's evolution into Silvally through maximum friendship represents trust, overcoming artificial limitations, the synthetic Pokémon achieving true form through bond. The evolution explicitly requires happiness threshold without additional conditions, pure emotional connection sufficient for transformation. This emphasizes friendship's power, synthetic creature transcending programmed restrictions through genuine relationship. The evolution's narrative weight comes from type, Null's creation as weapon, designed for power without consideration for consciousness or feelings. Evolution through friendship represents rejection of that purpose, creature choosing partnership over combat designation. The transformation symbolizes autonomy and emotional authenticity, triumphing over utilitarian design. Alolan Meowth's evolution into Persian at high friendship during night demonstrates combined affection and timing requirements, the regional variant needing both emotional bond and darkness to transform. This differs from standard Meowth's level-based evolution, environmental factors joining friendship as necessary conditions. The variation shows how regional adaptations can extend beyond appearance into evolution mechanics. Snom's evolution into Frostmoth requires high friendship and nighttime leveling, ice larva needing affection, and darkness to reach beautiful final form. The moth emerges from frozen cocoon through love and lunar influence, transformation blending emotional and environmental factors. This creates evolution, rich in symbolism, beauty emerging from care given during dark hours. Riolu's day-based friendship evolution into Lucario contrasts with these nighttime transformations, the aura Pokémon requiring sunlight rather than darkness. The temporal opposite suggests different emotional or developmental pathways, some bonds strengthening in light while others deepen in shadow. These time distinctions add nuance to friendship evolution, context mattering alongside affection level. Budu's similar day friendship evolution into Roselia maintains solar connection, the flower Pokémon blooming under sun's influence. The requirement makes thematic sense, photosynthetic organism developing through daylight exposure combined with trainer care. This alignment between biology and mechanics creates satisfying internal logic. Chingling's night friendship evolution into Chimecho represents lunar attunement, the bell Pokémon finding final form through darkness and affection. The various time-locked friendship evolutions demonstrate that emotional bonds express differently depending on when they culminate, morning trust differing qualitatively from midnight devotion. This adds a philosophical dimension to simple day-night toggle. Gender evolution requirements beyond form differences appear in Snorunt's transformation into Frostlass, the ice mask Pokémon gaining fairy typing when female specimen uses Dawnstone. Male Snorunt evolve into Glalie through normal leveling, creating true branching evolution based on gender. The split demonstrates how biology can fundamentally alter transformation paths, same species following different routes. Kirlia's evolution similarly splits on gender, males potentially becoming Galad through Dawnstone, while all Kirlia can become Gardevoir through leveling. This creates a three-way evolutionary tree from single species, male Kirlia possessing option females lack. The gender-gated branch adds collecting complexity while exploring biological determinism in evolution. Salandit and Combay represent more restrictive gender evolutions, male specimens completely unable to transform. These evolution blocks create absolute biological limitations, certain individuals locked from ever reaching final form, regardless of training. The restrictions mirror real organisms, where specific developments appear exclusive to one sex. The various gender evolution mechanics demonstrate sexual dimorphism's role in transformation, biological sex affecting not just appearance, but fundamental evolutionary pathways. These systems add naturalistic elements while creating gameplay variety, each gender-based evolution exploring different facets of how biology influences change. Location-based evolutions requiring specific geographical features demonstrate environmental influence on transformation. Magneton and Nosepass evolve only near magnetic fields, technology types developing through exposure to appropriate energy sources. The regional restriction creates pilgrimage gameplay, trainers traveling to special locations for evolution, Mount Coronet in Sinnoh and Chargestone Cave, in Unova House magnetic zones, enabling these evolutions, the landmark locations becoming transformation sites. This grounds evolution in world geography, specific places gaining significance beyond normal exploration. The location requirement suggests certain changes need particular environmental conditions impossible to replicate elsewhere. Leafeon and Glacian originally required proximity to Moss Rock and Ice Rock respectively, evolution stones serving as portable alternatives in later games. The location-based original requirement tied transformation to physical places, icy caves, and ancient forests becoming evolution spots. This environmental dependency suggested certain growth happens only in specific habitats. The shift from location to item-based evolution prioritized convenience over geographical storytelling, streamlining process while removing pilgrimage element. The change reflects evolving design philosophy, balancing accessibility against immersive world mechanics. Both approaches validate evolution through different frameworks, place versus portable catalyst. Eevee's environmental evolutions demonstrate purest expression of habitat influence, Lefion in forests, Glaceon in tundra. The connection between final form and location makes intuitive sense, organism adapting to immediate surroundings. This grounds fantastical transformation in ecological reasoning, evolution responding to selection pressures. Crab-roller's evolution into Crabamunable requires leveling on Mount Lanakila, the boxer crab needing mountain cold to trigger transformation. This very specific location dependency creates unique evolution condition, single mountain serving as exclusive transformation site. The restriction adds prestige to evolution while demonstrating extreme environmental specificity. The geographical requirement means Crabominable cannot be obtained until late game, when mountain becomes accessible, evolution timing controlled by story progress. This creates delayed gratification, transformation, earning value through patience and progression. The mount requirement demonstrates how location and narrative can intersect in evolution mechanics. Regional evolution differences show how same species develops differently across habitats. Cubone in Alola might theoretically evolve into Alolan Marowak while maintaining standard form elsewhere, regional energy influencing transformation direction. These adaptations suggest evolution responds to prolonged environmental exposure, creatures shifting based on surroundings. The concept extends to Vulpix, Sandshrew, and others with regional variants, each form representing valid evolutionary endpoint shaped by geography. This demonstrates evolution's flexibility, multiple correct answers existing based on context. The variants coexist across regions, each adapted to specific environments. Evolution item locations often tie to evolutionary themes, dawn stones appearing in areas with strong sunlight, dusk stones in dark caves. This environmental correlation between item and effect reinforces transformation logic, firestones near volcanoes, water stones near oceans. The world design supports evolution through integrated geography. The scattered stone locations encourage exploration, players searching every corner for evolution items. This transforms world navigation into treasure hunt, each stone discovery opening new transformation possibilities. The hunt itself becomes gameplay loop, distinct from battling, exploration rewarded through evolution options. Held item evolutions, requiring specific objects during level up, create equipment-based transformation, dragon scales, metal coats, and prisms enabling change. These items represent catalysts or missing components, evolution occurring when Pokémon gains necessary element. The mechanic suggests us transformation sometimes needs external addition rather than internal development alone. Politoed evolution from Poliwhirl holding King's Rock during trade represents combined item and trading requirement, multiple conditions converging for transformation. The layered prerequisite increases evolution significance, complexity creating sense of achievement. Politoed's water typing without fighting secondary distinguishes it from Poliwrath, item choice determining type development. Slowking evolution from Slowpoke similarly requires King's Rock during trade, the same item triggering parallel transformation in different species. The shared items suggest similar evolutionary mechanisms across unrelated Pokémon, King's power unlocking royal forms. These parallel evolutions create collecting incentive, one item serving multiple purposes. Porygon's evolution requiring upgrade during trade represents technological progression, software update enabling advancement, the digital Pokemon's transformation through data packet mirrors, computer program updates, evolution reimagined as installation process. This maintains thematic consistency with Porygon's artificial nature. Seadra's evolution into Kingdra, while holding Dragon Scale during trade, adds Dragon typing to Water Seahorse, item unlocking Draconic Heritage. The scale represents missing piece, enabling transformation, Seadra's latent dragon blood manifesting through Catalyst. This evolution demonstrates how items can fundamentally alter type expression. Onyx evolution into Steelix through Metal Coat represents material transformation, Rock Snake gaining steel composition. The coat doesn't just trigger evolution, but supplies transformative substance, Onyx's body incorporating metal during change. This suggests evolution sometimes involves material acquisition rather than pure biological development. Scyther's evolution into Skyzer through Metal Coat follows similar pattern, bug flying type gaining steel composition while losing flight. The trade-off demonstrates evolution involving sacrifice alongside gain, new strengths balanced by lost abilities. Scizor's increased power and defense offsets speed reduction, transformation, creating functionally different Pokemon. Raiden's evolution into Rhyperior while holding Protector during trade represents armoring, the ground Pokemon gaining enhanced protection. The held item becomes literal armor during transformation, equipment integrating into biology. This blurs line between tool and body, suggesting evolution can incorporate external objects. Electabuzz and Magmar evolutions into Electivire and Magmortar, while holding Electorizer and Magmarizer respectively, represent power enhancement items, catalysts boosting elemental control. These evolutions maintain type while dramatically increasing strength, items serving as evolution accelerators rather than path changers. Dusclops' evolution into Dusk Noir via Reaper Cloth connects to death themes, ghost type gaining Psychopomp characteristics. The cloth item enables transformation into Spectral Guardian, evolution tied to mortality symbolism. This thematic resonance between item and final form adds narrative weight to mechanical trigger. Clamperl's evolution into either Huntail or Gorbis, depending on held item, creates branching path determined by equipment. Deep Sea Tooth produces predatory Huntail, while Deep Sea Scale creates elegant Gorbis, item choice guiding transformation direction. This demonstrates how external factors can determine evolutionary outcomes, even from identical starting points. The various held item evolutions explore equipment's role in transformation, objects serving as keys, catalysts, or components. Each item type suggests different relationship between tool and evolution, some triggering, others enabling, still others integrating into final form. The diversity demonstrates mechanical flexibility while maintaining core transformation concept. Spiritomb and Sableye lack evolution entirely despite being evolutionary oddities, ghost types remaining single stage throughout existence. The absence of transformation preserves their unique characteristics, evolution potentially diluting distinctive features. Not every Pokemon needs further development, completion existing in original form. Legendaries similarly lack evolution generally, mythical status suggesting perfection already achieved. Cosmog line represents rare exception, the nebula Pokemon developing through cosmic stages into Solgaleo or Lunala. This legendary evolution demonstrates transformation can occur even among gods, growth possible regardless of initial power. Type. Null's evolution into Silvally represents another legendary transformation, synthetic Pokemon achieving true form. The evolution breaks from typical legendary stasis, suggesting artificial origins permit development natural legendaries lack. The transformation represents completion rather than enhancement type, Null becoming what it was meant to be. Kubfu's evolution into Urshifu maintains legendary status through both forms, martial arts training enabling transformation within legendary framework. The tower-based evolution requirement suggests even legendary Pokémon need guidance and discipline, power alone insufficient for reaching potential. This grounds legendary status in effort rather than birth. Melton's evolution into Melmetal demonstrates mythical Pokémon achieving transformation, nut species developing into Hex nut form. The massive candy requirement creates effort threshold appropriate for legendary evolution, transformation earned through sustained commitment. Melmetal's legendary status derives partly from evolution difficulty, scarcity creating prestige. Ultra Beast evolution remains largely unexplored, the extra-dimensional creatures following different biological rules. Poipole evolves into Naganadel through Dragon Pulse knowledge, the poison type gaining dragon aspect. This singular Ultra Beast evolution suggests transformation works differently across dimensions, familiar mechanics applying inconsistently. The absence of evolution in most legendaries and mythicals suggests power ceiling, where further development becomes impossible or unnecessary. These Pokémon exist as endpoints, evolution already complete before encounter. Their perfection renders transformation redundant, static forms representing ultimate expression. Single-stage Pokémon like Heracross, Pinsir, and Tauros demonstrate completed evolution in first form, no further development necessary. These creatures fill specific ecological niches perfectly, additional transformation potentially disrupting successful adaptation. Not all evolution paths require multiple stages, some designs achieving optimization immediately. Absol, Torkoal, and similar single-stage Pokémon received mega evolution opportunities rather than permanent transformations, temporary enhancements substituting for traditional evolution. This demonstrates how non-evolving Pokémon can still access power increases while maintaining characteristic appearance. Megaforms serve as alternative to evolutionary development. The various approaches to handling single-stage Pokémon show evolution isn't mandatory for every species, some creatures existing complete as encountered. This diversity prevents formula repetition, each Pokémon following development path appropriate to biology and role. The series respects that growth takes many forms, evolution being just one. Baby Pokémon like Pichu, Cleffa, and Igglybuff exist only through breeding, pre-evolutions get added to established lines. These babies must evolve through friendship before reaching original species, creating extended transformation chains. The additions demonstrate evolution working backward, new stages prepended to existing progressions. Incense requirements for breeding certain babies add complexity, Snorlax producing Munchlax only while holding full incense. These conditional breeding requirements create evolution chains accessible only through specific preparation, babies existing as optional alternate routes rather than mandatory stages. The system expands collecting dimensions while maintaining earlier Pokémon's accessibility. Azurill as baby Pokémon evolved from Marill creates unusual case where evolution can change gender, the only instance of gender-shifting transformation. This biological quirk reflects real organisms that change sex, adding naturalistic element despite rarity. Azurill's evolution demonstrates transformation can affect even fundamental characteristics like gender. The baby Pokémon additions show evolution chains growing through retroactive expansion, new stages inserted before original starting points. This demonstrates series fluidity, even established progressions, subject to revision and extension. The babies enrich evolution narratives while creating new collecting goals. Regional evolution extensions, like Stantler gaining Wardeer in Hisui, demonstrate evolution chains expanding forward. The previously single-stage Pokémon gained evolution centuries ago in ancient times, new transformation appearing through temporal mechanics. This temporal evolution demonstrates change occurring across historical periods, ancient creatures accessing transformations modern counterparts cannot. Ursaring evolution into Ursaluna similarly extends established line through Hisuian conditions, the full moon and peat block enabling transformation impossible in modern times. These historical evolutions suggest species evolution capacity changes over eras, certain transformations becoming inaccessible as environmental conditions shift. The lore implications add depth to world building. The various evolutionary additions across generations demonstrate development paths remaining open to revision, new discoveries, or regional variations, expanding established progressions. This prevents ossification, even well-known species capable of surprising players through new transformation routes. The ongoing evolution of evolution mechanics keeps series fresh across decades. Cross-generational evolution compatibility demonstrates commitment to maintaining relevance for older Pokémon. Tangela from Generation 1 gained Tangrowth in Generation 4, Yanma from Generation 2 received Yanmega similarly. These delayed evolutions show original designs carrying latent potential realized only generations later. Magneton's eventual evolution into Magnezone, Lickitung into Lickilicky, and Raiden into Rhyperior demonstrates similar cross-generational expansion. The additions provide enhanced forms without invalidating original designs, older Pokémon remaining relevant through new transformation options. This sustains interest in classic species while rewarding longtime fans. The delayed evolutions demonstrate thoughtful approach to power creep as new generations, enhancing rather than replacing earlier content. Original Pokémon gain new life through evolution additions, maintaining competitive viability across decades. The strategy ensures every generation contributes to ongoing series evolution rather than rendering predecessors obsolete. Eevee's continued evolution, additions across generations, epitomize this philosophy, each new game potentially adding forms while preserving existing ones. The incremental expansion creates anticipation, fans speculating about future types and triggers. Eevee remains perpetually relevant through ongoing development, signature flexibility maintained across 20-plus years. The various evolution philosophies coexist within series, level-based simplicity, alongside elaborate multi-condition triggers. This variety ensures different player preferences find satisfaction, casual fans enjoying straightforward transformations, while dedicated players chase complex requirements. The spectrum accommodates diverse playstyles without fragmenting core mechanics. Evolution depth scales with player engagement, surface-level mechanics accessible immediately, while obscure conditions reward research and experimentation. This tiered approach maintains approachability while hiding complexity for those seeking it. The evolution system functions elegantly at multiple investment levels, simple enough for children, yet deep enough for adults. The emotional resonance of evolution transcends mechanics, transformation moments, creating memories that persist across lifetimes. First Butterfree, first Gyarados, first Charizard. These transformations bookmark childhood experiences, evolution serving as chapter markers in personal narratives. The glowing light becomes vessel for nostalgia and growth simultaneously. The philosophical underpinnings of evolution reach beyond surface mechanics into questions about identity and continuity. When Caterpie becomes Butterfree, does the same consciousness persist across transformation, or does something fundamental change alongside physical form? The games never explicitly address this question, leaving players to interpret transformation's effects on selfhood. Pokédex entries sometimes suggest memory continuity, evolved forms, recognizing trainers and retaining learned behaviors. This implies consciousness survives transformation intact, physical reshaping occurring around stable mental core. The suggestion that personality persists creates emotional safety. Players trusting their companions remain fundamentally themselves despite dramatic appearance changes. Yet some evolutions describe behavioral shifts so profound that continuity becomes questionable. Shelgon seals itself in armor and stops eating, preparing for transformation into salamence. This cocoon stage suggests suspended animation, consciousness potentially dormant during preparation period. The evolutionary transition involves pause in normal life, transformation requiring temporary withdrawal from world. Kadabra's Pokédex entries claim the Pokémon was once human child transformed through psychic awakening, suggesting evolution can transcend species boundaries entirely. This disturbing implication raises questions about transformation's limits, whether change can fundamentally rewrite biological categories. The entry positions evolution as reality-altering force rather than simple growth process. Phantump represents similar boundary crossing, Tree Stump possessed by child spirit, becoming Pokémon. The evolution into Trevenant represents Ghost, maturing into Forest Guardian, Sorrow transforming into Protective Purpose. These Ghost-type origin stories frame evolution as spiritual journey, physical form following consciousness rather than determining it. Yamask's mask, containing human memories, demonstrates evolution, carrying forward past identity, transformed being remembering previous existence. The evolution into Cofagrigus seals those memories in golden sarcophagus, preservation and entombment occurring simultaneously. This creates evolution as memorial, change honoring rather than erasing what came before. Kubona's eternal mourning for deceased mother raises questions about how trauma affects evolutionary potential. The skull mask becomes permanent fixture, grief literally shaping physical form. Evolution into Marowak doesn't remove the skull, but integrates it, sorrow becoming armor. This demonstrates psychological states influencing transformation outcomes, emotional scars crystallizing into physical characteristics. The bond-based evolutions, like Sylveon and Lucario, suggest consciousness directly influences biology, affection, and trust, catalyzing genetic expression. This positions emotion as evolutionary force, feelings possessing material effects on physical development. The mechanic elevates relationship above circumstance, companionship becoming primary driver of change. Mega Evolution's dependence on trainer bond takes this further. Transformation impossible without synchronization between human and Pokémon consciousness. The Keystone and Megastone create resonance between minds, evolution occurring in shared mental space rather than individual biology alone. This frames transformation as collaborative achievement, neither party able to complete change independently. The pain described in some Mega Evolution Pokédex entries suggests consciousness struggling against transformation, physical form resisting rapid restructuring. Aerodactyl's spikes piercing flesh, Salamence's melting wings, these descriptions position temporary evolution as violent process consciousness must endure. The suffering raises ethical questions about forcing transformation, even temporarily. Sharpedo's megaform increasing aggression to point of attacking trainers demonstrates consciousness altered by transformation, personality shifting alongside power. This suggests evolution can affect mental states, physical changes rippling into psychological alterations. The blurred line between body and mind becomes apparent through such transformations. Ancient evolutionary forms, like fossil Pokémon, demonstrate transformation occurring across geological timescales rather than individual lifespans. Kabuto existed essentially unchanged for 300 million years, evolution proceeding so slowly as to appear static. This contrasts sharply with rapid level-based transformations, different temporal scales of change coexisting within single world. Kabutops represents Kabuto's eventual development toward land-dwelling existence, the species beginning transition from ocean to shore. Pokédex entries state Kabutops when extinct before completing this transition, evolution cut short by changing conditions. This demonstrates transformation as ongoing process that can be interrupted, not all evolutionary paths reaching intended conclusions. Omanite and Omastar represent parallel evolutionary experiment, spiral-shelled creatures exploring different adaptive strategy than Kabuto line. Both fossil species coexisted in ancient oceans, their different body plans suggesting multiple valid approaches to similar environmental pressures. Evolution's diversity becomes apparent through fossil record, past holding as much variety as present. Aerodactyl's resurrection from Old Amber represents most ancient fossil Pokémon, predatory pterosaur dominating prehistoric skies. The species predates other fossils, occupying earlier era entirely. Its presence demonstrates evolution stretching back through multiple epochs, current Pokémon representing recent chapters in much longer story. The various fossil resurrections create unique situation where ancient creatures inhabit modern world, evolutionary anachronisms walking alongside contemporary species. These temporal displacements demonstrate evolution's depth, current forms representing thin slice of broader developmental history. Fossils serve as evolutionary time capsules, preserving forms otherwise lost to change. Regional variants demonstrate evolution occurring in real time through geographic separation, populations diverging based on habitat differences. Alolan Vulpix's ice typing versus Cantonian fire represents dramatic adaptive response to climate variation. The transformation suggests relatively rapid evolutionary timeline, regional differentiation occurring within species memory. This accelerated evolution conflicts with real-world timescales, but serves narrative purpose, allowing visible consequences of environmental pressure. The variants demonstrate natural selection principles, different conditions favoring different traits. Cold mountain environments that selected for ice adaptation, while volcanic regions maintained fire heritage. Galarian forms showing even more dramatic departures, Farfetch'd gaining fighting spirit, Zigzagoon becoming dark-type delinquent, suggest cultural factors influencing evolution alongside environmental ones. The region's history and human culture apparently shapes Pokémon development, social pressures creating evolutionary forces as powerful as climate. This cultural evolution component adds complexity to transformation mechanics, suggesting consciousness and community affect biological development. Pokémon don't evolve in vacuum, but respond to total environmental context, including cultural pressures. The integration of social factors elevates evolution beyond purely biological process. Hisuian forms existing in ancient past demonstrate temporal evolution, same species following different paths in different eras. Hisuian Voltorb's wooden construction versus modern technology mimic design shows evolution responding to available materials. The ancient form predates electric grid, evolving from natural objects rather than industrial waste. These temporal variants suggest environmental pressures change across time, same selective forces producing different outcomes in different eras. The variants preserve evolutionary history, ancient forms revealing past adaptive responses. Time becomes evolutionary factor alongside geography and climate, historical context shaping transformation. Paradox Pokémon in Paldea region represent extreme temporal displacement, ancient past and distant future forms appearing through time distortion. Walking Wake and Iron Valiant demonstrate evolution's potential endpoints, past showing primordial power, future displaying technological integration. These forms explore evolutionary speculation, what-if scenarios made manifest. The paradox forms status as temporal anomalies raises questions about evolution's inevitability, whether specific outcomes are predetermined or contingent on circumstances. Multiple timelines suggested by paradox diversity demonstrate evolution containing possibility rather than single track, futures, and pasts, branching infinitely based on chance and choice. Breeding mechanics reveal evolution working backward, baby Pokémon representing pre-evolutionary stages, added after base forms established. Pichu's existence as Pikachu precursor demonstrates evolution chains extending in both directions, new stages inserted before original starting points. This retroactive expansion shows transformation as ongoing discovery rather than fixed truth. Egg groups, determining breeding compatibility, create evolutionary relationships beyond surface appearance, unrelated-looking Pokémon-sharing ancestors. Skitty and Wailord producing eggs, despite size difference, demonstrates genetic connection, transcending obvious physical characteristics. Evolution's family trees contain surprising branches, distant relationships, preserved in breeding mechanics. The various egg groups represent evolutionary classification system, creatures grouped by shared ancestry despite divergent appearance. Monster, Water 1, Fairy, and other groups map hidden connections between species, evolutionary relationships expressed through compatibility. This creates biological framework underlying visible diversity, suggesting common origins despite surface differences. Legendary Pokémon generally cannot breed, their singular status suggesting evolution beyond reproduction. These unique beings exist outside normal biological cycles, transformation occurring through different mechanisms than normal species. The breeding restriction emphasizes legendary's exceptional nature, gods and guardians, following separate rules than common creatures. Ditto's universal breeding compatibility suggests form-shifting Pokémon occupying special evolutionary position, able to interface genetically with any species. This positions Ditto as evolutionary wildcard, shape-shifting ability, reflecting fundamental genetic plasticity. The universal compatibility implies connection to evolutionary origins, perhaps holding key to understanding transformation itself. The relationship between Ditto and Mew, both pink shapeshifters with identical DNA structure, suggests shared evolutionary heritage. Theories propose Ditto as failed Mew clone, attempting to replicate genetic perfection but achieving only crude approximation. This would explain Ditto's incomparable transformability and universal breeding compatibility, incomplete god-retaining fundamental plasticity without original power. Mew's status as genetic ancestor of all Pokémon positions, it is evolutionary origin point, single source from which entire diversity emerged. This mythological role frames evolution as radiating outward from perfection, all species representing Mew's potential expressed through countless forms. The original species contains blueprint for every subsequent transformation. Pokédex entries describing Mew containing DNA of all Pokémon support this ancestral position, the mythical creature carrying complete a genetic library. Evolution becomes process of selective expression from total possibility, each species activating specific genetic sequences from universal template. Mew represents what was while all others show what could be, creation trio of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina existing beyond normal evolution, demonstrates gods transcending biological transformation. These beings shaped reality itself, their forms stable since universe's beginning. Evolution doesn't apply to creators, only creations, the architects existing outside systems they established. Yet even these cosmic entities possess origin forms, Dialga's origin and Palkia's origin, representing primal power states. These forms suggest even gods undergo transformation, original powers sometimes sealed or diminished over time. The origin reversion demonstrates evolution working bidirectionally, reclaiming past power rather than always progressing forward. Arceus, as creator of creators, exists at evolution's absolute root, the alpha Pokémon preceding all transformation. Its 1,000 arms, supposedly representing infinite potential forms, demonstrates evolution's ultimate source, all change flowing from original whole. Arceus simultaneously contains and transcends evolution, source, and synthesis of all transformation. The unknown's mysterious nature and connection to Arceus suggest letters as fundamental evolutionary building blocks, language and transformation somehow intertwined. These symbol Pokémon exist at reality's edge, their collective power potentially rivaling gods. Evolution's relationship to unknown remains unexplored, hence suggesting transformation and communication share deeper connection than apparent. Competitive battling reveals evolution's strategic dimensions, transformed creatures filling specific niches based on stat distributions and type combinations. Skyzer's steel typing eliminating Scyther's fire weakness demonstrates evolution as defensive adaptation, transformation covering vulnerabilities. The trade of speed for power shows evolution involving calculated trade-offs, gains balanced by losses. Chansey's evolution into Blissey creates ultimate special wall, defensive evolution maximizing specific combat role. The transformation represents specialization, Chansey's generalist healing focus sharpening into defensive perfection. Evolution enables niche optimization, creatures adapting toward specific tactical applications. Some evolutions deliberately maintain pre-evolution advantages through item usage, Eviolite boosting defenses of unevolved Pokémon. This creates situations where Chansey outperforms Blissey defensively, evolution actually weakening specific capabilities. The item demonstrates transformation isn't always improvement. Sometimes preserving earlier form provides strategic advantage. These competitive considerations add dimension to evolution decisions, players weighing final form power against mid-stage versatility. Porygon 2 with Eviolite, often preferred over Porygon Z despite being pre-evolution, bulk outweighing raw power in certain contexts. Evolution becomes strategic choice rather than automatic upgrade, transformation timing affecting competitive viability. Move pool considerations influence evolution decisions, some Pokémon learning valuable moves only before transformation. Delaying evolution preserves access to techniques unavailable post-transformation, creating tension between immediate power and long-term utility. This adds planning dimension, evolution timing affecting team capabilities beyond simple level thresholds. These strategic evolution layers demonstrate mechanical depth beyond surface simplicity, transformation affecting dozens of variables simultaneously. Type changes, stat redistributions, ability modifications, move access alterations, all flow from single evolution, the mechanic serving as Swiss Army knife of gameplay systems. The cross-generational compatibility of evolution mechanics demonstrates series design elegance, same basic framework supporting increasingly complex implementations. Level-based transformations from Generation 1 coexist with multi-condition puzzles from recent games, both valid within unified system. This scalability ensures evolution remains recognizable while continuously surprising. New evolution methods never invalidate previous ones, but expand existing framework, friendship-based transformations, adding to rather than replacing level-based ones. The accumulation creates a rich system where different species evolve through methods appropriate to their biology and narrative role. Diversity strengthens mechanics rather than fracturing them. The various temporary transformation systems, like Mega Evolution, Gigantamax, and Tera sterilization, exist alongside permanent evolution without conflict. Both temporary and permanent change serve distinct purposes, enhancement mechanics providing battle spectacle, while traditional evolution creates lasting progression. The coexistence demonstrates transformation operating at multiple temporal scales. Evolution's thematic consistency across mechanical diversity shows deep design philosophy, all transformation methods exploring same core concepts through different implementations. Whether through levels, friendship, items, or locations, evolution always represents growth and change. The varied triggers maintain freshness while preserving central meaning. The series' commitment to evolution as foundational mechanic demonstrates recognition of transformation's universal appeal. Growth resonates across cultures and age groups, everyone understanding change through personal experience. Evolution transforms abstract concept into tangible gameplay, players witnessing and guiding transformation repeatedly throughout journey. This experiential learning makes evolution concepts accessible without explicit teaching, mechanics demonstrating growth principles through play. Children grasp that care fosters development through raising togepi. Adults appreciate nuanced strategic implications. The system functions at multiple comprehension levels, simple enough for young players, yet deep enough for serious competitors. Evolution's emotional resonance stems from witnessing rather than merely executing transformation, light-filled animation creating memorable moment. The brief pause before change completes generates anticipation, players experiencing suspense despite knowing outcome. That dramatic beat makes evolution feel significant every time, mechanical familiarity never eliminating emotional impact. The sound design accompanying evolution amplifies this effect, distinctive music and sparkle sounds creating multisensory experience. These audio cues trigger nostalgia in longtime players, simple tones carrying decades of accumulated meaning. The sensory package surrounding evolution makes it one of gaming's most iconic moments, instantly recognizable across generations. The option to cancel evolution mid-transformation respects player agency, allowing choice about timing and form preservation. This control prevents frustration while adding weight to decision, transformation becoming willing choice rather than forced outcome. The cancel option demonstrates respect for player preferences, mechanics serving expression rather than dictating behavior. Stone evolution methods exemplify this player agency, transformation occurring only when deliberately triggered. Unlike level-based evolution happening automatically, stones require conscious decision and resource expenditure. This transforms evolution into deliberate act, players actively choosing when companion is ready to change. The permanence of evolution creates tension around timing decision, transformation being irreversible in most cases. This weight makes evolution meaningful beyond mere power increase, choice-carrying consequences that persist throughout journey. The permanence respects player decisions, outcomes remaining relevant rather than being easily undone. Some games introduce move reminder NPCs who allow relearning pre-evolution moves, acknowledging that transformation sometimes removes valuable techniques. These systems soften evolution's permanence while maintaining core irreversibility, allowing some reclamation of lost options. The compromise balances consequence with flexibility. Breeding while holding Everstone passes nature to offspring, expanding items' utility beyond evolution prevention. This dual purpose makes Everstone valuable tool for players who never evolve their Pokémon, combining form preservation with breeding optimization. The layered functionality demonstrates thoughtful design, items serving multiple purposes. The strategic use of evolution prevention creates interesting team-building decisions. Eviolite-boosted Chansey, requiring permanent Chansey rather than Blissey. Players must commit to specific forms for strategic benefit, evolution becoming resource to preserve rather than milestone to reach. This inverts normal progression assumptions, keeping Pokémon unevolved becoming deliberate choice. Lightball Pikachu representing signature exception, unevolved Pokemon matching evolved forms power through item. This special case allows Pikachu to remain competitive without evolving into Raichu, form preservation, not sacrificing viability. The exception demonstrates series flexibility, rules bending to accommodate narrative and marketing importance. Evolution's role in storytelling extends beyond mechanics into character development, anime frequently using transformation as emotional climax. Ash's Charmeleon evolving during crucial battle demonstrates growth through adversity, transformation arriving when most needed. These narrative evolutions create memorable moments that transcend gameplay systems. The anime's depiction of evolution as sometimes unwanted complicates game's portrayal, characters occasionally resisting transformation. Ash's Pikachu refusing Thunderstone represents choice to remain small and approachable rather than pursuing raw power. This narrative frames evolution as optional path rather than inevitable destiny, identity valued over strength. These character moments influence how players perceive evolution, seeing transformation as meaningful choice rather than automatic process. The anime's emotional weight around evolution shapes player expectations and relationships with own companions. Mechanics gaining narrative significance through storytelling context. The merchandise impact of iconic evolutions demonstrates transformation's commercial importance. Charizard's popularity partly stemming from dramatic evolution from tiny Charmander. The visual contrast between stages makes evolution compelling marketing tool, transformation journey creating narrative arc that products can reference and celebrate. Evolution lines appear frequently in toy sets and card packs, collectors wanting to complete full progressions. This drives sales while respecting completionist impulses, evolution creating natural collection goals. The commercial success demonstrates transformation, resonating beyond gameplay into broader culture. TCG evolution mechanics mirror game systems while adapting to card play constraints. Basic Pokémon evolving into Stage 1 and Stage 2 forms through card placement. The progression creates gameplay rhythm similar to video games, creatures powering up through transformation. This cross-media consistency reinforces evolution's centrality to franchise identity. The various evolution mechanics across different media demonstrate concepts' flexibility. Same basic ideas expressed through distinct systems appropriate to each format. Video games use levels and conditions. Cards use staged play. Toys show transformation through separate figures. Evolution's portability across media proves its strength as foundational concept. Evolution's scientific inspiration adds educational dimension often overlooked. Series introducing biological concepts through gameplay. Children learn about metamorphosis through Caterpie, adaptation through regional forms, genetic inheritance through breeding. These lessons occur naturally through play, mechanics teaching, without explicit instruction. The realistic elements, grounding fantastical transformation, make evolution feel plausible despite impossible biology. Regional variants responding to climate, move-based evolution, suggesting skill inheritance, held item transformations, mimicking symbiosis. Each mechanic contains kernel of biological truth. This grounding helps players accept magical elements, familiar principles, supporting fantastic outcomes. Evolution, as metaphor for personal growth, resonates deeply with young players experiencing own transformations. Children evolving alongside Pokémon creates parallel between game progression and real maturation. This metaphorical dimension elevates evolution beyond game mechanic into mirror for players' own journey. The series' longevity demonstrates evolution concepts' enduring appeal, transformation remaining compelling across technological generations. First pixels glowing on Game Boy screens carried same emotional weight as modern animated sequences, fundamental appeal transcending graphical fidelity. Evolution works because it speaks to universal experience of change and growth. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed drifting through these quiet moments, there's another video waiting on the left of your screen. Let it play while you rest. You might discover something gentle before sleep takes you again.